Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parent Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Karen demands I change her tires. This isn't an auto shop. After that, Karen mistakes my dad for a mariachi band member. And after that, our restaurant has been taking more of our tips than legally allowed. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen does not get her tires changed. Like you'd even know how to change a tire in the first place, Reddit boy. So please smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Karen demands I change her tires. This isn't an auto shop. So yesterday, I was told by my dad to stop by his work and change my tires from winter to summer ones. I arrived just when they were having lunch, so maybe that's why things had to come to this point that they came to. I loaded the tires and tools on a cart and moved it closer to my car. Around 5 minutes in, a car that I've never seen arrives, and it looked really strange because it was the typical family BMW SUV with a lady coming out of it, and parking spaces for customers are in the front of my dad's work, not behind it. So I'm looking at her, wondering what she's going to do. She came close enough to me she could hear my car radio blasting, so she gestured to lower the volume. So that's exactly what I did. The conversation went like this. Me, can I help you? Karen, yes. When can I come and pick my car up? Me, not knowing she thinks I'm an auto shop. I don't know, whenever you want, I guess. Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna go to Tesco and buy some stuff. I will be back in 15 minutes. She then proceeds to leave the keys on my cart and walks off. By now, I'm kinda confused. What did she want from me? I assumed she wanted me to look after her car because it's quite common that other people bump with their doors into your car and just leave. So I didn't take that as a problem since it was parked a few meters from me. After maybe 30 minutes, she comes back with 2 bags. Karen, are the tires changed? Me, what tires? Tires on my car, of course. Have you changed them already? For clarification, I can get easily upset if people talk to me like I'm some slave of theirs, but it takes a lot more to make me lose it. Me, why the heck would I change your tires? Karen, because you already pulled out the tires from your shop, and you have the tools out too, so that means you're open for business. Now I realize what's going on. Me, do I look like I'm an auto shop? Now Karen made a big mistake. Karen, are you deaf or what, you moron? You have tools and tires out on a cart, so change my tires. This is the point where I snapped. Me, who do you think you are, and who do you think you're talking to? You better get out of here before I teach you a lesson. Karen, how dare you speak to me like that? You're lucky my husband isn't with me. Now get changing my tires before I slap you. Now my dad is coming out from the back door because he hears the screaming. Dad, what's going on here? Karen, your employee is refusing to change my tires and is being very rude and disrespectful to me. Dad, he's not our employee and we don't change tires. What are you doing back here anyway? Karen, I'm here to get my tires changed because my stupid husband doesn't know how to. Dad, we are not an auto shop, so shut your mouth and leave our parking yard. Karen, so you are rude, disrespectful, and confusing me instead of telling me that you're not an auto shop? At this point, I see her getting ready to slap me, so I did the most simple and probably the best thing I could do. I just raised my hand so that when she was already in the motion, she hit the pipe that I was holding. After that, she screamed and ran to her car and just drove off. When my dad asked what the heck was that, I just answered, some idiot from the city, and we had a good laugh about it. Karen mistakes my dad for a mariachi band member. This story was told to me by my dad, so this is all secondhand and some details may be missing. Background: my dad is Hispanic. He has dark skin, brown eyes, and a mustache. He also takes pride in his appearance, and he looks like a refined cowboy when he dresses up. Straw hat, neatly pressed button-up shirt, black jeans, and spit-shined boots. He's very social, and his work is his second family. So if there is a party, a convention, or any kind of get-together, he will be there. Story time. Before lockdown, my dad and his coworkers had checked into their hotel and had decided to go to the lobby that had a taco bar set up for the guests. It had discounted margaritas, a live mariachi band for entertainment, and unlimited food. So it was perfect for my dad and his buddies to have dinner and relax after a long day. This was an informal gathering, so my dad was wearing his cowboy getup, and everyone who knew him knew who he was. He was milling around, making his rounds and making sure to shake hands and talk to everyone there. At one point, he went in line to the taco bar to have his dinner, and how he put it, a snooty woman who called herself the manager tapped him on the shoulder and started pestering him. We've got Karen and we've got my dad. Karen: Excuse me, sir. This bar is only for the guests. Dad: I am a guest. Karen: Let me see your pass. This bar is for guests only, not the band members. And this is where my dad started getting mad. Dad: Why should I show you my key pass? Why won't you look at my friends' key passes? He pointed to his other fair-skinned friends and called them out. Why are you picking out me in line and not the others? One other thing everyone knows about my dad is that he will be nice only once. Then he will get in your face if you keep pushing him. My dad tried to be polite at first, but once that stubborn Karen manager would not let it go, my dad decided to escalate the situation. Once he did not back down from this woman, she was the one who tried to apologize. But then my dad said the magic words. I want to speak to your supervisor. I want to talk to him about your conduct. The woman's supervisor was called, and even though the man tried to cover for her, my dad was already upset and was not going to go quietly. He kept asking her and the supervisor why he was the only one being called out. Now, this was not the first time my father had been mistaken for a service worker, and he always believed in making the accuser so uncomfortable that they will keep him in mind next time they wrongfully profile another person. Now he has the entire lobby and the rest of the guests listening in and most likely on his side, judging Karen and her supervisor. The supervisor was red in the face and was finding any way to de-escalate the situation. Finally, he apologized for the 50th time to my dad and asked if there was anything they could do to make this right. My dad seized this opportunity and said, In that case, I would like to have my dinner at this taco bar for free, and I want my table to have free drinks all night. The supervisor was quick to jump at the chance to calm my dad down and satisfy the rest of the guests. My dad still tells this story, and even though he can get up on his high horse, this time it was warranted. My dad is and always will be the proud Hispanic cowboy who takes no crap from anyone, especially snooty Karens who run their mouths way too much. Our restaurant has been taking more of our tips than legally allowed. Wow, yesterday was insane. I've worked at this restaurant since their opening last year. I've poured my heart and soul into this place. I risked my life during lockdown, stayed late, picked up support shifts, carried the team. I don't even know where to start, but here it goes. Until yesterday, I worked at a restaurant that opened early 2020, then shut down until reopening sometime in May. Last summer, I was pretty upset about the money I was making. I felt like the work I was doing wasn't worth the paychecks. I went to my manager multiple times about this, but she was always able to calm me down and convince me that everything was correct. I didn't want to risk trying a new restaurant with everything going on, and I liked all my coworkers, so I stayed despite feeling like something was off with the tips. I should probably explain our tip-out process. As servers, we can't close our own shifts. The manager is the only one with access to this. At the end of the shift, the manager clocks you out, you staple your receipts, and you're done. Later, the manager puts the info into a spreadsheet to determine our tip-outs to bar, 5% of drinks, server assistant, 1.5% total sales, and food runner, 1% total sales. This is where I believed our tips were being messed up. I know there was at least one instance where a tip-out was taken for support staff that wasn't working. My manager assured me that she goes back every week and checks for mistakes. I'm really easy to handle, I guess, because I continue to fall for it. Mid-April, my manager gets married at the restaurant. We're all paid the same hourly, but the bartenders keep the tips from the bar. At previous events I've worked, including the one event I'd worked at my restaurant, the tips were all split evenly since the bar is the only place tips could be received. The managers agreed that it was meant to be split, but said it was too late to do anything. I'm livid. I worked my butt off for this wedding, and it sucks being taken advantage of by my coworkers. At this point, I decided this was the hill I was willing to die on. I was taking a week off starting the weekend after the wedding, so I didn't want to quit immediately. But there's no way I could stay somewhere where a tip pool is stolen by 3 people and the manager's response is just, oops. So I decided to look up the laws. I wanted to see if there was anything I could do about it. I go to my state's Department of Labor website and see that it's illegal to take more than 15% of the total tips. Uh-oh. The whole year I knew something was off. I felt like I wasn't making what I should, and I was right. I went into work, got the info I needed from my past 3 shifts, and there it was. More than 15% of my tips was going to tip out the bar and support. They're speaking to a lawyer to confirm because they can't just shell out the money without knowing, but according to my manager's rough estimate, they owe us at least $60,000 to $70,000. This jerk then has the audacity to try to guilt me about it, acting like it's somehow my fault they got caught red-handed, telling me the support staff will lose their jobs, asking if I think they're overpaid. I guess it never crossed her mind that they could be paid a higher hourly. She's claiming they had no idea and were just following the industry standard, but I don't buy it. Why does the money always have to come from our pockets? If you don't know the laws for tipped workers in your state, look them up. All the information I needed was right there, and it was easy to call and confirm. I'm sick of these scummy managers and owners taking advantage of our hard work. It's time for us to take the trash out. Have you ever had a boss or a manager try to take advantage of your hard work? If so, what did you do about it? Please let us know.
You do every day, Reddit boy. I'm so sick of sitting here listening to you read all day.
Am I the jerk for celebrating my birthday? Hello everyone, I'm 13 and female. I was born in a very poor country. My mom didn't have great prenatal care, so she didn't know she was having twins until my brother and I were born. She had just wanted a boy. My brother passed when he was only a baby, and my mom got really depressed after that. Because of my brother's passing, we never celebrated my birthday, because it was supposed to be a day of mourning. My family will have small celebrations for me on other days, usually just going out for ice cream or other small things. My mom never joined in or anything, no matter when we had them. We live in the United States now, and birthdays are a way bigger deal here than when we were back in our old country. We moved here when I was 7, and ever since then, I've always wanted a birthday party with balloons and cake and streamers and everything like that. But my mom has always said no because she says I'm being disrespectful to my brother. Where I live, you're allowed to have parties of up to 25 inside, 100 outside. All of my friends were having small parties to celebrate turning into teenagers, and I felt really left out because I wasn't going to get a party. I tried to ask my parents again, and they said no. My mom said no, and that I was disrespectful for asking, and my dad told me to listen to my mom. I know that it's not right to be dishonest, but I just really wanted to experience that feeling of having a whole party just for you. So I saved up all of my money from the weekend job that I have, and I bought a cake and decorations and invitations. My friend's family owns a restaurant, and they agreed to let me use the back room. On my birthday, I spent the morning grieving with my parents and then told them I had to go to a friend's house for a school project. I had my birthday party, and it was the most amazing time I had ever had in my life. 20 of my friends came, and they all got me gifts and sang to me. There was music and dancing, and it was amazing. My parents found out though, because one of my friend's parents mentioned to my mom when she saw her at the supermarket the next day what a great time my friend had during my party. My mom came home and freaked out. She called me disrespectful, disgraceful, and basically said that she wished my brother had made it instead of me. I'm not allowed to hang out with my friends or go on any electronics except for schoolwork. I can use the family computer in the living room so she can see what I'm doing. I'm writing this on a computer in the school's library. I don't think my mom would be as mad if I had the party another day and not on my actual birthday, and that's the only thing I feel really bad about. I could have had it the day after my birthday instead of the day of and spent the day with my family. I just hate spending every single birthday sitting in the dark and not talking or eating while we mourn my brother. I just wanted 1 year to celebrate. Am I the jerk? Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her mom? Please let us know.
Definitely the mom. My heart really goes out to OP, and I'm glad she got to have a great birthday.
My husband is a member. When I got to work on Sunday, my manager told me that inventory was shut off because housekeeping needed to catch up from the weekend. We are crazy short-staffed. I was working alone, but Sundays are usually slow, so it was okay. All shift I had people walking in or calling trying to book a room, and I had to tell them all that we had no rooms available. One lady called a few times and was not having it. First phone call. Me. Thank you for calling our hotel. This is OP. How can I help you? Lady.
Hey, do you have availability for tonight?
Me. Unfortunately, we do not have any more rooms to sell tonight.
Unbelievable.
She hangs up. Second phone call, 45 minutes later. Me. Intro. Lady.
Hi, my husband is a member. Can I make a reservation for tonight?
Me. I'm really sorry, but due to staffing issues, we had to close our inventory for the night, so I have no rooms available.
What do you mean? My husband is a member, and you can't make me a reservation?
Me. No, I can't. She hangs up. Third call, 20 minutes later. Me. Intro. Lady.
Hi, are you the manager?
Me. I'm not, but I'm the only one here tonight, so what can I do for you? Lady.
Well, when I talked to you earlier, you said you had no rooms available due to no housekeepers, but I'm in front of your building right now, and I only see 7 cars. How are you filled up for the night? My husband is a member.
Me. So, housekeeping worked all day today to clean enough rooms for the reservations we already had for today. So, unfortunately, I have no other clean rooms. Lady.
This is ridiculous. You should have extra rooms available for your members. What is your manager's name?
Here's the manager's name. She'll be here at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Lady.
Oh no, I'm calling corporate.
Hangs up. I left out a lot of her ranting, but man, this lady was wild. I couldn't even make her a reservation if I wanted to. The computer literally wouldn't let me. And why do people think being a member means anything? All it takes to be a member is giving us your email and zip code. I'm just glad she called from her car and didn't come to talk to me at the front desk. Sorry, no unemployment for you. But back in the early 90s, I was working for a company that provided staffing for US government agencies. I was a system administrator at a large Department of Transportation facility. One day, I walked in, was told to see my supervisor, who very apologetically told me that Uncle Sam no longer wanted me working there, and well, I was fired. I was told to go to the contracting company's office on the other side of town, which I had never been to, save the day I was hired. Shocked, I drove up there. I was like 24 and had never been fired before. In retrospect, I know what happened. The project I was working on was failing. Not because of anything I did or didn't do. The concept itself was flawed. There were 3 people who worked on the project. 2 were federal FTEs, plus me, the contractor. Anyone who has had experience with this knows the contractors are the first to go. So I'm sitting with the manager of the local branch, who has an email from the government employee in charge of the doomed project, listing a parade of horribles that I had done. Some of the minor ones were true. I had been late a few times, but the major ones were just fabrications. They claimed that there was a problem with the networking and that a contractor had to be engaged to fix the problem. Is that true? Well, yes, I am that contractor. I diagnosed the problem and then I fixed the problem. That's my job, or at least it was until a couple of hours ago. The manager realizes pretty quickly what's going on. Not that it gets me my job back. As we go through the separation procedures, he tells me that per company policy, he's required to document that I am not eligible for unemployment compensation. I just nodded because I didn't know much about these things. He says I'm getting a 2-week notice and that for the next 2 weeks, I am to show up to his office. He offered the use of office equipment to print resumes, apply for other jobs, and the like. So after a couple of days, he says he's set up an interview for me at another project at the same facility. Sure. I went down there, sat with the project manager. Interview lasted less than 5 minutes. So, we're a COBOL shop here. What's your experience with COBOL? None whatsoever. So we both realized it was a bad fit. I went back to the office, confused as heck. The site manager knew I didn't have COBOL experience. Why did he send me there? I found out a few weeks later I had applied for unemployment compensation anyway, upon the urging of my friend who said that policy sounded really sketchy. I had an interview at the unemployment office and they looked over the paperwork, noticed the form that said ineligible, and the lady explained that I could contest that. I said sure. She asks me if I've been applying for work. I said yes. She asked if I've had any interviews. I told her about the one I had. Her eyes widened and she smiled. If they interviewed you for another position, that means you were not terminated for cause. You were let go because of lack of work. That's a layoff. She then marks on the paper that I am eligible for unemployment compensation. I ask if I still need to contest their finding. No, they can contest my determination, but given that they actively tried to keep you employed after these events, it's not gonna fly. He did you a big favor by sending you on that interview. Am I the jerk for telling my sister that it's her fault she wasted money on a wedding few people are planning to attend? The important thing to know about our family is that it has a decent chunk of elderly people and a lot of families. My sister and I are in a group of about 5 within our age range. Most of our relatives are about 10 to 15 years older or younger. In other words, everybody else is already an established, red non-partying adult, or they are still kids. My sister is a party girl, and it was clear from the start of planning that she was more concerned with making her friends comfortable than our family, which caused issues. She chose a venue 4 hours from home, but which is closer to them, and which allows alcohol to be served without the expensive insurance the venues at home are required to mandate. So now, people are going to have to spend at least one night in a hotel on top of everything else. That really isn't likely, and that's before you get into the fact that my sister decided to make the wedding no kids, and that the invitation read, cocktail reception to follow. Okay, so you want us to rent at least one, if not two hotel rooms, pay for overnight childcare? I don't even think that's a thing here. Go to a ceremony, and then you're not even going to feed us? No way. My sister and her fiancé invited 150 people to their wedding. So far, 107 have RSVP'd with a no. My sister went on an epic Facebook rant earlier, then called me to complain. Apparently, they've already signed contracts with the vendors and paid non-refundable deposits covering half of the amount of people my sister and future brother-in-law thought were attending, instead of waiting until after the RSVPs were returned. After about the third or fourth hour on the phone of trying to calm her down, I finally couldn't stop myself from asking her what she really expected to happen. Did she really expect our 97-year-old great-grandpa to travel that far, then spend the night at a reception without food? Did she really expect our cousins with the quadruplets to pay a babysitter to watch them for a better part of 2 days? She's hysterical and made another Facebook rant. She posted about being the black sheep and how nobody ever supports her, and how even I, in her words, my own baby sister, abandoned her when it came to the biggest day of her life. I was feeling fine about what I said before, but that post is weighing on me a bit. I don't know. Am I the jerk? Edit, because I was unclear. I understand paying a deposit on the venue before sending out the wedding invitations. The issue is that they apparently already paid a non-refundable deposit to the caterer and bartender, etc., for half of who they thought were attending. Second edit. I'm getting a lot of people telling me that it's apparently normal to pay a portion for the vendors, including catering, bartender, etc. That's fine. The issue still remains that my sister is upset about having paid a deposit for people who aren't going to the wedding. Third edit. Her fiancé's family lives about an hour from ours. So no, the location is not a compromise between the two families. It's being held where he, my sister, and their friends live. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her sister? Please let us know. Oh god, I just love these Bridezilla stories. We switched banks after they lost my dad's savings and tried to bill us for their mistake. Years ago, we had moved from one state to the next. About a month ago, some lady had managed to find an old checkbook or something of my dad's and managed to clear out his entire savings. My dad tried to buy groceries and thought his card was broken, went to order a new one and was shocked when he found out that all of his money was gone and tried to clear it up with the bank. He said to me later that there should have been noticeable red flags with the bank when going through that check. We were out of state. The check that the lady cashed was pretty old, about 5 to 6 years old, and my dad recently had a divorce about 3 years ago and had to make a new account. They're required to check signatures, and I'm not sure how they managed to pass that. It should have been suspicious at the start since it was cashing out the entire savings. The bank apologized and said that the banker handling the situation will be disciplined, the police will be called, she was found and arrested later, and that his money will be returned in 2 to 3 days or today, and a $40 transfer fee was required. I'm not sure how the entire conversation went exactly, but here is the breakdown. We've got Dad and we've got Bank Lady. Dad: why a transfer fee? Bank Lady: that's for our policy, sir. Dad: I'm not paying for something you guys messed up on. I literally have no money, let alone cash. Bank Lady: I'm sorry if we aren't up to your expectations at this time. Dad: can you please talk to management and see if they can get it in by tomorrow? Hang on. My dad was put on hold for 30 minutes until he was put on the phone with a manager who wasn't much help. Dad, trying to still be nice at this point: can you at least put in the money tomorrow? Manager: I mean, I can try, but that would still be $40. Dad: no. Manager: then you have to wait 4 days. Dad: I'm not paying for some idiot's mistake. Manager: if you don't like our service, then you're welcome to go somewhere else. Cue malicious compliance. My dad hung up and called me over to help him drive to another bank. He didn't tell me what he was doing after he made an account. When his funds were back, he transferred the money to his new account. Written up for not following work schedule. I complied to the fullest. Cast: we've got me, Cook 1, Bob, Cook 2, Mia, the supervisor. Boss names changed for privacy. Our workplace follows a bi-weekly work schedule. I am one of 3 cooks that work. I usually work 4 to 5 days a week, interchanging Friday and Saturday 11-hour closing shift and Tuesday and Thursday 6-hour closing with Bob. As Friday and Saturday are the most busiest and we close at 11 p.m. instead of 10 p.m. as most days. With agreement from our boss, we would switch every schedule. This schedule would be sent in text and a physical copy at work. Bob was scheduled to work this time as I gave notice a month ahead for those days off. Bob likes to copy and paste schedules, messes up by posting the physical copy stating I'm supposed to work and text copy as my days off. First week of Mia following the physical copy. She calls me that day that I'm 30 minutes late, asking where I am. Confused, I explain the situation that I have my day off and I can't come in. She interjects, saying I was scheduled to work and that I'll be getting a warning for no-show. The next day, I get a call from my boss about my no-show. He doesn't care that the schedule was wrong and not matching. Tells me if I miss today, I'll be written up and that you must follow the schedule at work. He can't misschedule anyone else as nobody wants extra shifts besides me, Bob, and Cook 3 and can't hire anyone as not enough business. Next month rolls around. Bob is quitting and he has already given his 2 weeks notice. The new schedule is up and I notice the schedules don't match. Bob was assigned to work Friday and Saturday when he had already quit by then. So after closing Thursday night, I muted my phone from work and I head home to have a few drinks. Come back to work Sunday and boss is waiting. Goes at me for missing work and how he had to fill in for me as nobody else could. I just told him I was only just following the work schedule exactly. Oh man, he was furious. But after calming down, he does a 180 as he had no one else the next week to cover those days. I just said I couldn't work those days as I get back to work just as the lunch rush comes. What makes my malicious compliance even better is next week comes. I'm at my mom's work friend's party. I see my boss wife there also. I meet her and have a short conversation that led to asking her where boss was. She said he couldn't make it as he needed to cover some shifts at work. I replied, too bad. He probably should have scheduled someone. Hope you enjoyed my malicious compliance as much as I did. Am I the jerk for asking my girlfriend to pay for my new prosthetic leg? I, male 24, was in an accident around 2 years ago that resulted in losing my left leg. I thought that would be the end of my active lifestyle. I loved all kinds of sports as a kid and still do. I had a very hard time adjusting to my new normal. My parents were able to get me a prosthetic leg that allowed me to get back to running and going on trips with my friends like we always did every summer. The guys were planning an RV trip on the weekend. We had already chosen a destination, which was spending some time out in nature and a getaway from stress. My girlfriend asked if she could come along. I told her no, this is a guy's trip. Told her all my buddies' girlfriends wanted to go, but they were firm and put their foot down. She laughed at me for this, then tried to convince me to let her come because she was stressed out from being at home 24 hours a day. I already made up my mind. I wasn't going to ruin the trip just because she wants to be on a guy's trip. I promised her a trip when I got back. She got upset and didn't like the idea. Later on, before I went to sleep, I took my prosthesis off as I do every night. This is my second prosthesis. I've already completed a wearing schedule during first year and had to get another prosthesis to accommodate any physical changes I had. I woke up in the morning and I couldn't find my prosthesis. I looked where I put it, but it was gone. I asked my girlfriend, who was doing heavy cleaning around the place, and she said she didn't see it. I was confused that it wasn't near my bed. I asked her to stop being childish and playing games and give me back my prosthesis because I know she took it. She's a bad liar and couldn't even deny it. She said she wanted to hide it so that I won't go on that trip and leave her alone. I got mad at her for this. I was stunned to find my prosthesis hidden underneath an auto part in the garage. It had been damaged. It was placed in a position where it had cracked. It was obvious it no longer functions properly. I mean, I could still wear it, but couldn't put my whole weight on it because it would break. I yelled at her and showed her what she did. She said she didn't mean it. I told her she did mean it because she was being childish and jealous over a trip, and now she caused me $7,000 worth of damage. I told her she ruined everything, that she owed me a new one, and that she needed to pay for a new one. She got mad and left. I basically had to use my old crutches, and it felt absolutely horrible. I called the guys and told them I wasn't coming. It's been a few days. She's mad that I'm still asking her to pay for a new prosthesis and called me a jerk for not apologizing and preferring a plastic leg over her. I had to call my parents today to tell them, and they told me she should at least help pay half of the expenses for a new prosthesis since she caused damage to it, and then consider my relationship with her. Have I been a jerk to her? Edit. For those asking about where I am, I'm in Asia, from the Philippines.
Please come watch this video next, you're gonna love it. And if you support our channel by joining as a member today, we'll give you a special shout out in our next video. And to have us make a video for you of whatever you would like, just come visit us on Fiverr, link pinned in the comments below.